Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Roll Wise Show, the place where we play games. Today, we're going to be playing a game. We're going to be playing a continuation of our Ironsworn saga, which is turning out to be quite the twisty, turny journey for our two heroes. Well, it's mostly a
It
journey
is.
of failure, and its twists are incurred because the dice have deemed that we're not worthy to get to the to the destination easily. But yeah, we're going to be following our two characters as we co-op play this. We're both kind of co-GMing, co-playing, whatever that's going to be called, GM-less playing. And Ironsworn seems to be well designed for solo co-op as well as guided play with an actual GM if you cared. But we're enjoying it. So, Jeff, do you want me to give a recap, or do you want to give a recap? How do you want to do that?
No, go ahead. You're on a
Okay.
roll.
Oh, okay. Okay. So first of all, if you haven't seen any of our previous episodes, this is part of a playlist. So if you want to go catch the, Ironsworn, from character creation till now, you can definitely watch those episodes and see the misadventures of Knut and Aelfred. Your choice. And then, of course, just to kind of recap where we left off last time, we had somehow managed to find a way to track the Bone Walkers to their place, their village, where they had been living out kind of a facsimile of life, which was kind of strange. We definitely left some story threads with that, in so much as that it seemed like the pantomime that they were doing was kind of purposeful but pointless. They were living out their lives in death, kind of thing. They had collected a bunch of weapons for some reason and placed them in the center of the village, which through a couple good rolls, we were able to actually recover Knut's.
You were heroically.
I snuck into that place and stole it better than anybody else could. I really leaned into my strengths, meaning that we got a sword back. We actually got him the weapon that he had earned as part of his trials as a trainee swordsman from the village that we had come from. So, leaving that, we decided to continue our journey. We actually thought we were going to make some good progress getting back to finding the Varou that have the abyssal harpoon, the thing that we feel is going to help us save our village. But instead, we kind of got knocked off track again. This time, rather than going off track in the most literal sense, more our tracks were blocked by an obvious threat. The obvious threat was a Varou hunting party. And us being the silly humans that are trespassing and breaking a blood oath that we are, we thought that would be the perfect cliffhanger to start this week. So,
Yeah, that's about where we are. In trouble again.
It's pretty much days of our lives. I mean, at this point, I think we'd give them a run for our money. What you mean? You mean there is a twin? The undead were your people? There are undead. Twists and turns about, I guess. So I did like one line that would be a perfect line for this Varou hunting party to kind of greet us. But I was curious, because we never really 100% pegged down the Varou. Did we decide that they were werewolf types, kind of like Werewolf the Apocalypse, with the whole mostly kind of burly wolf-headed things with the whole,
given the way they're described in the book, that's probably more how I'm leaning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the other option is they're more human and they just are closely aligned with wolves or worship a wolf god or something like that. Or what are you thinking?
Well, I was just curious. I mean, I hadn't really put an actual look to it. Because it's because there are options. Obviously, we could have them look far more human, and have very canine type features, strong facial features, kind of pointy ears, sharper canines, more emphasis in canines, but for the most part look human. That could be an option. And this is kind of taking right from Werewolf the Apocalypse, as they can go from their human form all the way to their Krynos form, their war form, or whatever it was. back in the day, and that was where they
Yeah,
were the most wolf-like creature. Wolf head, entirely furry, claws,
yeah, they
padded feet, and all that stuff.
yeah, it could
Um,
be that way. I mean, we can. I think we can go however we want. The book describes them as their features are fierce and wolf-like. So broad-shouldered, taller than regular humans. But they don't mention anything about that. That they have long hair, so they don't mention anything about like body hair, like a
mhm.
wolf would have. But that doesn't mean we can't have that because this is our story, not.
Yeah, so I mean, we could currently make them into the wolf tar. I was talking with the wife about Dungeon Crawler Carl and the man tars, and I was like, well, these could be wolves on 4 feet plus a torso if we wanted. Um, I don't know, but I'm totally cool with kind of like a more werewolf kind of look. Maybe short haired, so they're not just like out there in the naked, kind of more feral than civilized. Because I think we kind of had given them a more civilized culture to first, like they had a long history and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Um,
they are one of the firstborn, so they should have a long history. And
mhm,
that like we did negotiate a treaty with them,
mhm,
so
yeah.
that at some point they're willing to talk. I don't know, when that point is.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, so kind of going with the werewolf, like the typical werewolf form, where they
Sure.
wolfish
Yeah, I think
head
we
and
can do that.
kind of broad shouldered, a little like long limbed, one could say. I think
Yeah,
that would be fair. Okay. Because I did like the idea though that it's like because we're from the sea and I mean we've obviously been tramping around the woods and getting dirty and not bathing or anything like that. But I do like the idea of them like having smelled us first and them choosing the point of our meeting being this point.
sure.
And so they could say something like the wind carried our salt stench, because obviously their nose was good, the salt rot or fish guts, something like that, to kind of like
Oh
say
yeah,
we pretty much advertised as soon as we got into their lands. um and it's and this is one of those like, and it's like the sea vomits its refuse into our lands and it dares call itself men. We could be that sea vomit, like. So I was
sure.
thinking that would be a fun line to be greeted with, regardless of how the conversation is actually going and their demeanor and all that, but having kind of them give us a pithy, like, in our own tongue of all things, they give us
Well,
our
yeah.
own tongue.
No, I
uh,
don't know if anybody in where we're from spoke their language, so they must speak ours.
to whatever degree is necessary. So pithy opening to us. We had kind of gotten off to a start. So at this point, what do you think the demeanor of this hunting party would be? Are they, because they're hunters, they're not like, oh, you trespassed into our land, we're gonna fucking murder you. They're kind of like, you guys are in the wrong neighborhood, dude. Like.
Yeah, I mean, they know we're from the coast,
Hmm.
so it's not a huge leap that after a generation or however long we trespassed on their lands again after agreeing that we wouldn't,
Hmm.
right?
You
Like
might need to
like
get a
they
little
they they,
closer
ha-
to the
they
mic.
have they have to know that.
Hmm.
So I I think they have an idea who we are, even though not specifically, but roughly.
Okay, because we are from the sea, so I mean that gives at least a hint that we're from the
Right.
areas that they would know. Do you think that as part of their culture there would be anything that would um, give demand, like allow us to seek parley? Like I don't know why a scene from you know uh, Pirates of the Caribbean came up where they're like, we speak to parley, like where they
No,
have to
I
give us a
my
chance to
my
do that.
get my get my guess would be that there's somebody above, like, that's above their pay grade.
Hmm.
Like if we attacked them or gave them a reason to, I think they could kill us and with honor and go about their business.
Okay,
But I think as
but
long as we don't give them a reason to kill us,
Sure.
then I think there's somebody that has to make that decision unless they're here in the hunting party.
Okay.
That's my guess, but I could be wrong. I never dealt with a Varou.
It's true. It's true. Um, I think I think this is something I was kind of considering. It just depends on what our goal is. Do you want to fight them? Do you want to talk
No,
with them?
we will die. I don't think that we can take them on.
So, because basically, I was thinking this was going to be a perfect opportunity for your compel move, kind of regardless of exactly what we wanted to do. If we wanted to charm or pacify them, or threaten or incite them, or lie or swindle them, you would have kind of the ability to state your case and get what you want. Because I think the ultimate goal would be to have them take us to their leader, right?
Yeah, that's what we'd want to do, But I don't think we want to make ourselves seem like that we're a threat at the moment.
I don't know if we'll pose much of a threat later. I just a
Yeah, I
point
don't
of
think we'll be much of a threat later either.
so that I mean that was kind of my thought, because as I was reading the rules, thinking about possible paths forward, it felt like compel was going to be your best friend in this little bit here.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I have compel? I don't.
It's a relationship move.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you choose to charm, pacify, barter, or convince, which I feel like charm or barter, or charm, pacify, or convince would be what you're looking at. Those are heart. I mean, if you wanted to threaten them, you could. You'd have to roll iron.
I'm
And
definitely not threatening them.
if you wanted to lie to them for some reason, you roll shadow.
Yeah, that's not happening either. I don't know if they'll care about our reasons or, what's going on.
Okay.
That's up to them.
So I feel like, I mean, so why don't you lay it out for me? What is your thought process? Like, these guys greet us. I get to use my line because I thought that would be kind of fun to have them greet us. And then
Yes.
like, what do you do? Do you just like stand forward proudly and state your name and your quest? And we are on a quest. Like what?
Yeah, I definitely think I would tell them that we are on a quest. The Leviathan has returned to our shores and is, you know, choking the life out of our village. And we have come for help,
Mm-hmm.
and need to speak with somebody who, might listen to our plea.
Okay. Might listen to your plea. So that's a convince, it sounds like. So do you want to roll a plus a heart and some
Yeah,
challenge dice and see how we do?
let's roll some plus heart. So heart's 2, so I get +2. Let's see what happens. I got a 7, and on the action dice and the challenge dice were a 3 and a 9, so it is a weak hit.
Okay. So on a strong hit, they'll do what you want or share what they know. You get +1 momentum. If you use this exchange to gather information, make that move now and add +1. However, on a weak hit, you do as above, but they ask for something of you in return. What would they want from us in return, do you think? And if you're unsure, we can always go to the Oracle.
I think we may need to go to the article, but the only other thing that comes to mind is the uh, bone walkers,
Hmm.
that have come back, helping them determine why the bone walkers have come back, just
Okay.
to pick up one of those plot threads that we ran away from.
Which just fled. Bone walkers.
Bone walkers?
What?
No, no, thanks.
More like nope walkers. Yeah. So okay. So do you think? So I think story wise, we could save that for the conversation that comes up in a little bit, because I feel like at this point you were like, "Oh, take us to your leader," and and they're
Yeah,
going to, but there's going to be an ask in return.
maybe right now we have to go with them while they hunt, and then we have to carry back their kills. Like, Or basically they're they're beasts of burden for the hunting trip for the next couple of days.
Oh, or yeah, and you know what? They need to make us smell better. So they're going to they
Yeah.
they'd have to get us like smelling like the hinterlands as opposed to the sea. Maybe there's a little bit of that. Like, so would you think they would take us as their prisoners then? Kind of like tentative prisoners. Like we're watching
I think
you.
they'd probably take our weapons.
Okay, well, that's not a bad
Yeah.
ask in return. You know.
I don't think that's bad. They probably have somebody keeping an eye on us.
Okay.
Maybe one of the younger ones, but without our main, without our weapons, I don't know how much of a threat we are to our Varou. And if we were going to run away, I don't know why we'd say that
Take us deeper into your lands.
yeah, we could have run from the edges of their lands.
Mhm.
We knew the general direction to run.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I think that makes sense to me. Like
Okay.
basically, you say, "Hey, um, we take us to your leader." They say, "Why?" And of course, you spin your yarn about the quest and everything like that. And you've at least convinced them enough that they go get their supervisor,
Yeah, yeah.
the clan
They
chief.
may not fear the Leviathan coming inland
Hmm.
and affecting them, but they realize they've heard the name, like right.
Yeah.
They realize that there have been beasts like the Leviathan that have
Or
been in their lands.
or it could be a string of omens, like
Okay, sure.
like we
No,
could,
that's good.
like they go, okay, well, we've had these undead appear on our lands, and now these outsiders bring tales of a leviathan on the shores, and that's a legendary beast that wakes once but a you know
Yeah,
celestial
it's a
confluence.
big fib to tell. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, no, it could sound like a portent. I
Yeah.
think that
Hmm.
right. I
Aha.
think that's good.
That's good. I think that works. It at least lends an air of credibility for them to be like, okay, well, that's too many weird things
Why they didn't
happening at
just take
once.
our weapons and leave us with
Mhm.
our boots and tell us to
Good
leave
luck.
their lands immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think if we as we go through this, with the hunting party back to their thing. First of all, um, this would be part of the fulfill a vow thing because we found the Varou, right?
Yes.
So yay, we get to fulfill a vow for once because we're remembering to do that.
Yeah, no, we're getting better at playing the game.
Okay. Roll the challenge dice and compare it to your progress.
And we're at
So
6.
yeah.
Is that what you got?
Hmm.
Just the challenge dice.
Yeah, just the challenge dice.
Are you going to do that this time since I rolled the last one? Or you want me to?
No, I have a bad feeling about my dice rolls right now, man. Just
Okay, 2d10. Let's see what happens.
the f-
A 1 and a 1.
you couldn't have rolled better. Okay.
No, that is the worst challenge dice rolls.
No, no, that's the
I
best
mean, it's the
challenge dice
best.
roll.
It's the best for us. Yes,
Yeah, I was
that
about
is
to
the
say,
best
no, no,
challenge dice
that
roll.
is don't
That is
confuse
the
people at
excellent.
home. One is
No,
one is awesome. Tens suck.
yeah,
Well,
one
ten.
because we beat with anything that isn't a 1.
Yeah. So fulfill your vow on a strong hit. Your quest is complete. The mark experience. You get 1 experience if it's troublesome, 2 for dangerous, 3 for formidable, 4 for extreme, 5 for epic. And I believe we had this one marked as
Troublesome, I
troublesome.
think. Yeah, so
Yep.
1
So,
experience.
yep. So we're gonna get
Okay.
1 experience, and I don't know where to. Oh, there it is, up in the
It's
top right corner.
yeah, up at the top of the character sheet.
Yes. May there be much
Hey,
rejoicing. We got our first experience.
yes, that's crazy.
Okay, so now we found the Dreco. So I think at this point we're gonna have to make a new vow to convince them to give us the spear. Or I mean, we do have a vow to kill the Leviathan. We just don't have the vow to, you know what I'm saying, for the steps of killing the Leviathan.
Right. Yeah. No,
So
we have the generic overarching.
yeah, the epic, if the epic one there. Um,
Yeah.
could you imagine if you had rolled a miss on that? It's like your quest is undone. Envision what happens. And I was like, what the fuck? We're literally being escorted by the Varou to their village. What could possibly
Well,
bone
they
walkers?
say that they are, but they might just be marching us like into a swamp and then disappearing.
It's
And
true.
I
It's
know
true.
there's not a swamp in their lands, but you know what I mean, like
I know. That's
some
pretty funny though.
inhospitable location and
You think
saying,
you made
"Oh,
it?
hey, you're on your own.
Oh, I love it.
This is your trial. If you make it out of here alive,
We'll
you'll,
listen to what you have to say.
we might listen." Yeah.
Um, okay, so we take our time, or we take the time it takes to basically go with the Varou, um, to get to their village or town or whatever it would
hmm
be. I don't would it be a town? Like what do you imagine this to be like a holding for the Varou? Like
Probably more of a holding. I think they're probably less worried about constructing, super permanent buildings. You know,
you think they're migratory in nature for their
I think some of them are at least. The
Mhm.
smaller bands for hunting, they probably have a central place that has more stuff. But I don't know if they're doing a lot of stonework. Maybe they are.
Their first ones they could be doing
They
they
could be
could have
doing
the
anything.
coolest fucking stonework, you know?
They might know how the steel pillars work.
Yeah, they you know what? There are no dwarves in this world. These Varou could easily be the ones that are the master stonesmiths and have
No, they
brilliant works
could.
of art that nobody knows about because they fucking kill anybody that comes.
But where they're stronger, I don't know if they feel like they need like a castle. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
With
that's what
like walls and stuff like that.
I just was kind of wondering about the whole
I would say something bigger than a village, but maybe not quite a city. What's in between that? It's their gathering point, their bazaar, and their marketplace, and their
there's
seat of whoever the overarching leader is over the
yeah. Well,
probably the different clan lords.
there's definitely a town builder book that has
Yeah,
that as the hamlet, town, village,
yeah.
something like that. Gathering grounds of sorts. Sure. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna basically be the talk of the town.
Oh yeah, no. There'll be several hundred Varuu, maybe a couple thousand, that
Mhm.
know that we're here
Very
and are
quickly.
all kind of unhappy about it.
But maybe there is a benefit by not getting there immediately. We do smell more of the hinterlands and washed up fish guts.
Less of the sea, yeah, less of the
Yeah.
fish guts.
hmm Okay. And so, do you think because this is the opportunity, if there was anything um, to learn from the Varoo or compel them in any other way, like between the journey of when they pick us up and when we get there, would you feel like trying to win them over? Like, I don't know, try
I
because
would feel about talking. I mean, I'm sure they talk about some stuff around the campfire, right? And
yeah. Well, but my question is could you convince one to be an advocate? Like convince them your cause is worthy and that the let bygones be bygones, so that when you get there, you at least have one Varoo that is you know a
yeah,
friendly.
yeah, no, I think I think that could have been a quest to try to befriend, show them how we're willing to work, and do the things that they asked while we were. And I don't want to say captured, but essentially captured
hmm So
while we were in their party, contributing, not causing problems, not trying to escape, not you know having any subterfuge, showing that what we said is exactly what's going on.
okay,
At least we're honest, even if we're oath breakers.
yeah, because this is a this feels like a relationship one that is a um I don't know if you'd consider this, but there's a forge a bond um, that you can do. Is that if you spend a significant time with a person or community, stand together or to face hardships or to make sacrifices for their cause, you can attempt to create a bond. I don't know if we'd be there, but there is there's also what I'm saying. There's a compel and forge a bond option. So I'd just be curious if you you thought one of those would be applicable to
Maybe
this.
trying to forge a bond over the time that we spent, even though it's relatively quick.
Hmm.
You know, I don't. Who knows how we helped out? Maybe somebody got injured and we tried to
Hmm.
heal them, or we warned somebody of, I don't know, loose stone. They're probably better on this terrain than we are. Don't walk there. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if not, outdoing them in their own prowess, just simply being, you know, uh,
Willing
good.
to contribute and
Yeah.
not cause make waves.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
make
because the
waves.
forging the bond takes time, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because so that would be my question is if because we have time to get there, the idea would be is that if we tried to get someone to help us, um, at the when we were at the King's Moot or the whatever the gathering
Right.
of the elders or whatever it is, and they were much more sympathetic to our cause. That might be a helpful thing to move us forward to getting the spear. Whereas if we just kind of went in and they were like, these dickholes
Right.
were assholes. They
Yeah,
knowingly went
you
on our
can't trust
lands.
a thing that they say. Yeah.
Hmm.
What would you say that this dangerous, formidable, troublesome?
So basically, you're want to create a vow to create an ally or to create an ally within or an alliance with
Trying
the.
to, yeah. Well,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure
so
because this is
I'm trying to
this.
understand how the forge a bond works. It says if you make this move after you successfully fulfill your vow to their benefit, you may re-roll any dice.
Well, I think so. What I
Mark a
think that
tick on your bond progress track. So I'm not. Don't know. Okay, I have bonds with you,
Mhm.
but I don't necessarily have bond. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
guess I can
how
just
that
roll. Yeah, go ahead.
how that would work there's probably two ways to look at it. The first way is that if you've like let's say hypothetically they had asked us to go, they were kind of on the fence about us and they kind of begrudgingly became friendly with us, and then they gave us a quest to go kill a bone walker to prove our mettle, and then we did, and then we came back and we tried to forge a bond. Then that would probably be the way that they're
Yeah,
looking at it. Whereas if you just
sure.
tried to forge a bond after talking, and since
Okay.
we're not doing a lot of role playing here, but so if we just were talking with them, proving our worth that way and all that kind of stuff, I don't think you would get a re-roll, but you might still
Right.
forge a bond. So
Okay.
now, as to the distinction narratively between forging a bond and compelling someone, I think that forging a bond would be more interesting because if things go sour with whatever leadership of the Varou, they may be sympathetic to our cause and you know may try to
Sure.
stick their neck out for us in one of many ways, whereas opposed to if we just try to convince them to help us, they may speak for us once, but then that might be the extent of their help.
It
I
might be.
just
Sure.
I'm not sure I know how to get a vow out of it
Yeah,
because
I
it's
don't
just
know. I
like
don't know either. Honestly, I don't. So let's try and forge a bond. We'll roll with heart and see what happens.
okay,
It
that
definitely failed miserably. I got a 4 total on the action dice and a 10 and an 8 on the challenge dice. So I'm refused.
yeah.
They're not interested in making friends. So now I got to pay the price.
So in this case, the most obvious thing. So basically, why don't you describe to me the approach you took that failed so miserably? Do you have an idea as to what happened? Do you think you came off too strong?
I probably overplayed my hand and was talking with the one who would talk to me and basically asked, our quest is urgent and I don't know if your leaders will listen to us, but they might listen to one of their own who can, vouch for our verity, our truth in
Hmm.
what we're saying, that we've shown no deceit. We
Mhm.
Yes, we did trespass on your lands, but it was, you know, because we had no other choice. We have no other way of killing a leviathan other than with the trident that we gave you when we made the treaty with you. You know, harpoon, trident, harpoon. Yeah,
Um,
and
okay. Do you think?
I don't think he appreciated it. I don't think they appreciated it at all.
Yeah, the trauma dumping. You were basically
Yeah,
trauma dumping on him. Okay. So do you
I
want
think
to?
my problem's his.
So what's the obvious negative outcome that happens? Like the do you have one, or do you feel like there's two? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know when you try and convince somebody in a more, I don't want to say warlike, but the like physical prowess is like their thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Okay.
I think maybe he like backhanded me and challenged me to unarmed combat,
Okay. So basically, what you're suggesting maybe
a
happened is that
sparring session against a professional boxer where there's no hope of me defending myself.
so it sounds like you may have gone so far as to broken some cultural taboo,
Possibly.
as well as because in order to get to this kind of like honor duel, where they I'm kind of imagining that scene from like Dune where like all of a sudden they're like, oh, now you guys have to have a knife fight. Good luck.
Yeah. Good
so
luck.
so is that where you're at now? You've decided that you get to have a
Yeah, I think I asked him to do something that they just don't do. They don't,
Mhm.
they don't put in a good word because the leader is, or the elder or whoever it is the one that makes the decisions,
Okay.
and they aren't concerned with the opinions of others. They're concerned with maybe the
And
council, if there's a council, right? That maybe the council
sure.
gets to weigh in, but on matters like this, the normal Varou wouldn't go
And
out of their way to get involved.
and you accidentally called him a tail wagger or something like that.
Yeah, well, probably inadvertently, but yeah, probably something like that.
So you crossed a cultural threshold that wasn't supposed to be crossed. Okay.
Yeah,
I
mm,
I dig it. I look in horror as the grounds for challenges thrown out through the Varu's ferocious smile, like knowing that they're really only tolerating our presence as opposed to accepting it at this point.
mhm.
Um, yeah, and finding myself kind of like immediately pulled back by the other people as they kind of form a small like a
I'm
whatever
sure there's a circle,
circle.
right?
Yeah.
That seems to come up often enough
Hmm.
in stories, and
Do
that
do you think there
you
would be
you
some
form an
like
impromptu ring of some kind so that the
do you
combatants can't get out
do you think
in
there's
case
something
somebody
where they're
tries to
like
run.
they like wrap the wrists so that you guys are like
They
connected to
might.
each other?
They they could. That's also something that comes up.
Mhm.
That makes it worse for me.
Yeah.
There's one arm I can't defend with.
It causes delay and puts you at a disadvantage. Well, yeah, that's not, so. I'm just kind of curious. So
Yeah,
you think
no,
it'd
they
be
could.
like a bare knuckle thing, or do you think there would be
No,
like
there could be
knives
there
with?
could be a strap, tying like our left arms together.
Sounds
But
fun.
assuming that most people are right-handed, I suppose my left and their right, if they're left-handed, freeing up the main hand.
Okay. So you have been challenged to a duel of sorts. What would the name of this be like in layman's term? Do you think like?
Yeah, I think this is probably a common thing for them to settle, like petty disagreements and
Mhm.
you know
Okay.
wounding of pride or questions of honor, or like it's not a major transgression because at the end of the day, it's a beating for one person. It's not maiming or a killing,
Well, not yet, at least.
or a
Um,
shunning. Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying it couldn't be.
okay, so basically, they have he has invoked a trial by combat to test your metal as you your prattling has insulted his sensibilities, and you know, at this point, asserting dominance in some sort of way, like the trial of blood, something simple like that. When you enter combat, set the rank for each of your foes. Do you want to just use the standard foe um, level for these, Varou?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So they're considered dangerous at the um,
Okay.
normal level. So it's just so dangerous foe is 2 progress per harm, inflicts 2 harm. And then you are going to roll to determine who is in control.
That's
If
right.
you're facing off against your foe, you roll plus heart. Um, so that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah,
So
let's
you've been
let's face
stripped down
off
to
and
have you been
yeah.
stripped down to like just your breeches and a leather strap connecting you to this to the
Yeah. It's pretty basic. So plus heart, right?
Yep, so roll plus heart. Well, I'm rooting for you if it helps.
Well, we'll see how the initial face off goes. We haven't even Oh man, that is bad. Okay, a 7 on the action dice compared to a 7 and a 7 on the challenge dice, and I lose ties. So that isn't good. 7 was a good roll, man.
It
8 was the
was.
best roll I could hope for. And 7 was a good roll, and it didn't help me at all. Okay.
No. So in this case, on a miss, because this is considered a miss for all those watching
It
at
is,
home,
yes.
we've definitely missed a lot. Combat begins with you at the disadvantage. You pay the
Yep. That's not
price.
going to be good.
Um, so you pay a price, and your foe has the initiative. So, what do you think a price would be that's appropriate to you starting this combat? Like,
That is an excellent question. I mean, maybe I look like I'm getting ready to do something and like he pulls the strap harder than I could have possibly imagined and I kind of splay, you know, a-
gracelessly.
out on the ground gracelessly. And as I try to get up, then the combat actually starts, like I'm not saying he would kick me when I'm down. In my
But
mind, the Varou are very honorable,
but
but
basically
I'm
at this
definitely at a
point,
disadvantage. And anytime he twitches the strap from now on, I'm going to assume that he's trying to
okay.
pull me off my feet
So
again.
so basically they're just proving how much of a pup you are, and we're being
Yes.
embarrassed at every
I'm being
level.
toyed
Like,
with.
yeah, so we're just these yipping little pups coming and asking for this legendary weapon to fight an epic monster, and he's just
Yeah.
toying with you. Um, okay, well, cool. So you struggle out of the mud and the grass to get back up, and so now there's 2 things. You can either strike when you have the initiative, which we don't,
Should don't.
or you
Or
can
it's
clash
clash. Yeah.
when your foe has the initiative. So, and since you're fighting in close quarters, you roll plus iron. Um, now the fact that we decided there's no weapons, it'll just be 1
Right.
harm per damage, but they do 2, so could be pretty
Yeah.
quick.
All right. I will clash with him.
Okay. So envision your action in the fiction of the exchange. So I always like these kind of fights to be like a Kurosawa film. So frame it up for us, director.
Um, I figure since he's going to tug the strap again, I kind of like do a roll to try to get inside of his guard and then, come up and like punch him in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a sucker punch, but And I rolled, and it is a weak hit. I have a 6 on the action dice and a 3 and an 8 on the challenge dice.
Okay.
Man,
Um,
I inflict my harm, then I got to pay the price, and my foe has initiative still.
yep. So basically, you duck in, you go in for the gut punch, which you succeed. You land a strike on him, but you paid a terrible price to get to that point. You know, do you think he would resort to using claws on you, just as kind of
No,
like a
I think getting inside his guard just allows him to like bear hug me and pick me up.
Or you go for a
Or
punch and he gets you a knee. I see that happen.
oh no, that no, yeah. I get inside the guard, right?
And
I think it's the safe place to be.
and you
And
find
yeah,
out that those long legs
well, yeah,
are dangerous.
I get the punch in, yeah, and then get a knee to the side as I complete my strike, yeah. Leave it totally exposed, right? But both
Hmm.
sides opened up. Yeah. I think we can pay the price and take a knee.
Okay.
That hurts. That's 2 damage.
That's
I
2
lose.
damage for you, and you give him 1. So I'll track his tracker
Yeah.
there. Or I mean, I guess you technically could do both, but um,
Yeah, so he took 1 and I took 2. And this comes off my health if I remember right?
correct. Yeah.
So I'm down to 3.
I feel like he would know that there was some damage given in the exchange, but I feel like as he's recognizes that he's better
I
off
don't
than
think the
you.
lesson's been delivered yet.
Okay. So at this point, since you're not really leaving, it'd probably be another clash right out of the gate. So
It would well, he has initiative, so it can't be anything other than a clash. I'm kind of circling, favoring my side, um, and waiting for him to do something, and so I kind of feint like I'm going to throw another punch, and then I try a kick of my own.
okay. Let's see how the clash goes.
Yeah, let's see how the clash goes. I rolled a 5 on the action dice against a 9 and a 3 on the challenge dice, so it's another weak hit. So I do another damage to him, so that's a
Mhm.
total of 2. But now I'm going to take 2 from him to pay the price.
Yeah. So
I
you
probably kick him pretty solidly, but he manages to grab my leg
okay?
and I don't know, basically maybe not jerk it out of the socket, but pull me hard enough that I feel
Kind of get
twinges of stuff in my leg, and I'm on the dirt again.
okay. So basically, you kick him solidly, but he's able to catch your leg before you're able to retract it, and then he kind of single legs you and puts
Yeah,
you at a disadvantage there.
it
Okay.
maybe comes down with his knee on my chest. You know,
Or Superman punches, right? They're like
yeah,
just
or punches me because at this point, if I take another 2 damage, I'm down to 1.
yeah. So now the scuffle has moved to the ground, fur and flesh just okay. And he's got the initiative, so let's see what happens.
Um, you do add +1.
Because I think the other thing that
Ouch.
you can do is
There's a turn the tide, but that seems super dramatic.
well, you kind of well, I mean, a turn the tide is a good idea. And do you want to remind people what turn the tide does?
It's once per fight, you can risk it all, and you may
Okay.
steal initiative from your foe to make a move that is not a progress move. And
Hmm.
then when you do, you add 1 and take 1 momentum on a hit. So I get an extra 1 to try to hit him.
Hmm.
All right, I will try to turn the tide because that's about all I have left to do.
Okay. Because
I
there,
rolled
well,
ace, huh?
I was just going to say because the other alternative is you can secure an advantage too with that. I don't know if that would be helpful for you because the secure advantage would just make your next roll easier. But um,
No, let me try it. Let me try to take a chance.
okay,
We'll try to turn the tide. I rolled a 7 on the action dice against a 3 and a 4 on the challenge dice.
okay,
So I do get to take a momentum.
all right.
Not help me a lot, but it helps me a little. Um, I managed to sort of wriggle free, shift his balance enough that I'm able to get out and deliver a blow. Probably not a cheap shot, but
Well, but
not full on.
to say the least, at the very minimum, it sounds like he came down on you hard with a punch, kind of putting you in that guard position where you're on your back and you've
Yeah.
got this obviously larger Varou on you. But I think that there's a sense of determination that you did a risky move where you just kipped up and you surprised them in a way that you were able to turn them over, get back up, your blood coming from your face, whatever, that steely look in your eyes. You're not giving up. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
I
So
say I say that uninjured over the court.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I probably strike him a little bit, but it doesn't do really any damage to him because that isn't the kind of thing that turned the tide was.
Mm-hmm.
But so I take him initiative, make the move. Oh, and the move can be whatever is appropriate, strike or secure an advantage. So I could have the move was a strike then. Okay, so I do one harm and retain initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you actually you're moving the progress bar, which is important at this point.
Okay.
So because every time.
Oh wait, no, the turn the tide was successful. I still have to roll the strike, right? I have to roll to turn the tide, and then I have to roll for the strike. Or is the turn the tide the strike?
No. It's the turn the tide is
Oh,
the
and
strike.
that's to make the move. So it is. So I did the strike.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did 1 damage to him.
Yep. Let me just double check to make sure I'm tracking progress real quick correctly. Okay. Dangerous foe, 2 progress per harm. Actually, no. So you've done 3 progress to him, or 3 hits to him. So you'd actually be at 6 progress total, right?
Yeah. And I get to retain advantage though, right?
In this case, yes. So you'd have. So the thing is
Initiative.
here.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you have initiative. So you're kind of at a crossroads here. You could use this to try to decisively end the fight, meaning that you have enough progress that if you rolled 2 5s or less, you could end the fight successfully. But it's a gamble.
It's a gamble. I'm going to try to strike him one more time.
Okay.
I feel emboldened, not cocky, not cocky, but for a minute there, I was feeling hopeless, and some hope surged back into me after that move.
Okay. Some gritty determination. Obviously, it was my cheerleading. I do have aid and ally. Is there something I can do with that?
Look, I'd take another +1 on the roll. Not gonna lie.
Aid my ally. When you secure advantage and direct support, they score a hit. Instead of you, they take the benefits of the move. Oh, okay. So I can secure an advantage for you. And I'm just sneaky enough that I might have noticed something that I can tell you.
You might have.
Yeah. Let's see. Secure an advantage. When you assess a situation, I can roll stealth. Okay. Oh, so since you've got that advantage right now, I'm going to say that if I'm going to try to secure an advantage for you. So I'm going to try to aid an ally,
Okay.
giving you the ability to do your strike, and you can do it with a +1 if I succeed, or you could prepare to act. You could take 2 momentum, which could be good as well. Because how much momentum do you have right now?
Not enough. I think I'm at 4.
So if you got 6 momentum and you rolled a shit challenge dice, you could possibly, or action dice, you could probably take that back.
I could possibly take it back. 6 isn't horrible.
So okay, so let me roll here, and I assume that if you're okay with this, that I basically like me, because they're all cheering them on. Me saying something tactical might defeat the spirit of it, so they might punish me as part of the process if I fail. Like, so I think that's a fair assumption that I don't really know the rules of their blood right. So I'm just like, oh, whatever. What rules?
Exactly. What rules?
What is my shadow? Is there a version where I can use edge? Oh, with
Probably
speed,
not.
agility, or precision. How would
Oh,
speed,
that would.
agility?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how that would.
This is basically me telling you that there's a 2 meter exhaust port on the Death Star. Is that what that would mean? Look, his eye. Um,
Yeah.
well, I think if with that, the tactical advice would be a secure strike, whereas the other one would be a low blow advice. Does that make sense to you from like a coach in the corner kind of thing?
Yeah.
One is throw dirt in his eyes, and the other one is like, look, his eye is attack him from the left. He can't see after your last punch. I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Something strategic. Sure. Let's see how this goes.
Yep, I broke the spirit of I broke the spirit of the flip thing.
Well, you did what I did, only with a 6 instead of a 7.
Yeah, I got 3 plus 3, and I got a two sixes for my challenge dice. So that means I fail or my assumptions betray me. My assumption was I could give advice during this, and I receive a a backhand. Um, and I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna say that I was laid out, so I'm gonna take
Okay.
two health because that's what they seem to do, and I have broken the spirit of it. You don't get an advantage, so really this is just the crowd in me. I'm getting I'm getting it from the Varou closest to me, who's basically like, it's not your place to interfere with their sacred
Sure.
ritual. So
So, do you think it was bad enough that I got so distracted that I looked at you and was like, "What?" and left myself wide open for him to just finish me?
no, I think in this case
I just don't get the advantage.
I don't think you get the advantage. I think that
Okay.
since I'm going to take health as my thing,
Okay.
like you may be confused, and if you roll poorly enough in your strike, that
So,
might be the narrative like outcome of you seeing
sure.
me like you be being like, what the fuck? Then
So your price is getting knocked out and not being able to enjoy the rest of the
the
challenge.
beating. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they don't look at it that way. You know, I will try to strike. I rolled an 8 on the action dice against a 6 and a 5 on the challenge dice.
Nice. So that means you do two more progress. So explain. So obviously you didn't notice. Like, it must have been that like I was behind you giving the advice, so you didn't
Yeah.
see this like eruption of movement as one of the Varou
Yeah,
just.
I probably heard something, but this guy's got all of my attention.
Mhm.
He's got all of my attention, and
Yep.
I sort of kind of juked him a little bit because I pulled on the strap, like I was going to try to pull him off balance, but I didn't do it as hard as I could, and he
Mhm.
immediately reacted. But instead of pulling me off balance, I was ready to spring forward, so he kind of gave me momentum, and I kind of get like a jumping, like kind of Superman-y type punch.
Ooh, put some. What was that? Zack Snyder 300, where you're in the air, just like slow
Yeah. Yeah.
motion.
Well, yeah, of course, in the slow motion. I mean, as long as things are somewhat going well.
Well, I mean, you're already shirtless, so you might as well go in
Yeah.
the
Might as well.
300.
Yeah. The
Get
sweat, the
evoke
sweat glistening, trailing off of me as I
as
leap
you
in the air.
just a
Right.
feral look in your eyes as you're, going through. Okay, perfect. You land a solid hit.
Am I at 8 now instead of
You are.
6?
Yep. So now
Okay.
would be
I'm
the
going to
time.
attempt. Yeah. Now would be the time to try to end the fight.
Hmm.
Oh, the last time I did this, it just went so poorly. Okay, so I just rolled 2 challenge dice against the 8 on the progress.
Hmm. Yes.
So 2d10. Let's go. I rolled a 6 and a 9.
Happens, but at
So on
least
a
it's
weak hit.
a weak hit is better than a miss like we've been doing so far. So combat moves.
They're no longer in the they're no longer in the fight, right?
Mhm.
They're out of action
Yep.
or
So
tap out, I guess. But I also have to choose one. Damn. Endure harm, endure stress. A new danger or foe appears. Suffer collateral damage. Something of value is lost or broken. An objective falls out of reach. Others won't forget you're marked for vengeance.
oh
Hmm.
man. There's some good ones there.
There are some
Hmm.
good ones. Will you remind me again the stress mechanic?
So stress is basically on your character sheet. You have spirit and you have health. Spirit is how you endure stress in that regard. Um, but however, the endure stress move is actually it's actually a move itself, and that's
Oh,
under
it's
the
actually a
suffer.
move. Okay.
Yeah, it's under the suffer harm stuff. And so when you're and that's basically you suffer mental shock or despair. Um, and so you may shake it off or you may be overwhelmed with something. So basically endure stress in this case I would say is that I like the way that it's framed is like make this move when your courage fails you. So how would your
Okay.
courage fail you
Yeah,
in the
that
end of
doesn't
this
seem.
fight?
Yeah, it doesn't seem appropriate. What about
Hmm.
endure harm?
Endure harm just means that you and him hurt each other but you came out on top. um
Let's say
so
I endure. Let's say I endure harm.
you don't want to have a vengeance show up, because he.
I if well here's the thing. Like from a story perspective, I think that's good. But if this was an honor thing and
Mhm.
he fought with honor and I fought with honor, just because I won, I don't know that one of the Varou would want vengeance because he's
You're
not
saying
dead or
he's not
anything.
petty, you know?
Well, he could be like he could be. In my mind, the Varou have some,
Mhm.
have honor.
Okay.
It could be like I said from a story type thing. Like there's also an objective falls out of reach. They don't actually take us to the.
Okay. So when you face physical damage, suffer minus health equal to your foe's rank. So in this case, rank 2, um, or as appropriate to the situation. If your health is 0, suffer minus momentum equal to any remaining minus health. So you
Yeah, so I got to go down to 0 health, and my momentum will drop to 3.
okay, and then now you roll a plus health or plus iron, whichever is higher. Since you're at 0
I'm
health,
at
I assume
0
you're
health.
iron.
It's definitely gonna be my iron.
Okay.
Or wait, no, the thing won't go down to 0. It
Oh, weird.
looks like it stops. No, it does go to 0. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm at 0 health.
Okay.
I'm at 3 momentum, so I'm gonna roll iron.
Okay.
Let's see what happens when I roll iron. I got a 4 against a 2 and an 8, so that's a weak hit.
Yeah. So basically, when you endure harm and get a weak hit, the effects of the damage that you just took are the outcome. So the
Okay.
minus momentum, the minus health, and everything like that, that's the outcome. Whereas if you get a strong hit, you can shake it off and suffer, and you can actually exchange momentum for health. So you can kind of you get a little bit back, as one could say, or you could embrace the pain and get some momentum out of this doing something. Whereas on a miss, you also suffer minus one momentum, and if you're at 0 health, you must mark a wounded or maimed and
Oh,
roll on
good.
and then roll on the table. So if you would have missed this, there was
That
definitely a
would have been
chance that
bad.
you would have rolled on this table, and there's a the harm is mortal, face death. You could have died from this.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, but still basically I won the fight somehow. Either he tapped out because he was semi surprised and then I collapsed as I was standing over him. I just
so
fell to the
well,
ground because I exerted myself to the
will you turn the tide? Went
I
300.
turned the tide.
Describe an epic end to this trial by this blood trial. I mean this is all you, man. You won. You get to do something
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean I did the Superman punch to do the last bit of damage to him and maybe I knocked him out or whatever I did,
Hmm.
The
So you think
300 punch.
the 300 punch basically was enough to just like
Yeah,
lay him out?
and I like stand over him, and I go to raise my arms, and I just sort of like as the adrenaline leaves my body, it apparently was the last thing holding me up.
You survey
I
the
just sort of
battlefield and you're just
collapsed to
like
my knees. Yeah.
boom boom. So it was like a tie. So what's
Well,
odd about that is it,
technically, I won.
you did
Technically,
win. Yeah, you did win.
I suffered a
Um,
lot of damage. It's one of those Rocky victories, right?
yeah.
Where you come out and your face is all swollen.
Like, you should have seen the other guy. I don't
Yeah,
need
you
to,
can't
man.
you can't move for 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to give you 3 weeks to get
No,
back on
I'm
your feet,
kidding.
but
I'm sure I have to be back on my feet as soon as they throw water on me to wake me up.
mhm. um cool. Well, good job. Obviously because we won this blood trial, we could take them all on if needed.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. That was the easiest thing ever. No, that was it just didn't go as bad as the bone walkers.
No, it didn't. It was actually pretty good, honestly.
It actually went okay. It actually
Yeah.
went okay.
Grand scheme of things. It'd be nice if we got a clean, nice little bow on one of these combats, but that's not interesting. Um, okay. So at this point, we had the complication of the Varou testing us testing your intentions as well as, trying to quiet your prattlings. And now we're going to be on our way to the Varou uh, thing, the township,
Enclave,
yeah.
gathering.
I'm curious. My brain is failing me as to like,
Maybe that's why the hunting party was sent out, was to bring back things for a feast or something.
I don't know. So a town is larger still, having a central hub for surrounding hamlets and villages. So it sounds like a town,
Town.
according to.
Yeah, let's do a town.
Although Wikipedia, for some reason, has a settlement hierarchy. All right, I've got to read this
Okay.
now, real quick. Um,
You're compelled to.
I have to. It's fucking mathematical here. Okay. Um,
Yeah, I think there are definitions for different types of settlements. Quantified by
okay.
size and technology. I don't know.
So so using the title of a settlement can be misleading in the absence of any widely accepted definition. For example, the city status in United Kingdom historically arose from its place in the ecclesiastic hierarchy. Okay.
That
All
actually
right.
makes some sense. I think.
So an urban metric system has been conceived that would correct the problem since it allows computing the urban area limits and central points. So this is obviously not role playing,
No.
but you have the value of a beta. I think that's a beta. I'm not good with my Greek values here, but an urban area, if you have a central city, the distance at which the attractive forces equals the repulsive forces, whatever the fuck that means. You have a central city, which
I
is
don't
10
know.
kilometers. You have an agglomeration, which is 20 kilometers. You have a metropolis, which is 40 kilometers. You have a petropolis, which is 80 kilometers. You have a megapolis, which is 160 kilometers. An urban
Like the
system.
diameter of it, like of the size that it takes up.
Yeah. And then you
Yeah,
have a world
those are
system.
big.
And then it goes all the way to urban macro system, continental system, intercontinental system. So this is obviously not helpful. Town it is.
Let's just go with a town.
Extreme density, more than 1 billion residents. This was
There are
actually
not a billion Varou here. I at least I hope there's not.
I hope
Fighting
not.
one was bad enough.
There's a Euseminopolis, which was something that is in Stellaris, a game that I like to play. It's a strategy game. It's where you convert a planet into a giant city kind of thing.
No, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So it's just 1 billion residents. Okay. Well, this very interesting article that's I don't know how helpful it is, but town. We'll settle on town.
Yes, that is excellent. We'll go with town. Yes.
There's a town. There's obviously a like a high chieftain or some sort of leadership position, maybe a council of elders, maybe another position or something like that. We are led in to the town. Obviously, obviously the talk of the town, as you said, since we're the first humans to try to enter these Varou lands in a generation, on purpose at least.
Yes.
Um, and or at least captive. I mean, there's probably humans that track through these lands that try to avoid being caught. Vagabonds and other Ironlanders and stuff like that, to various
Probably.
levels of success. But we didn't. We're in the heart of this tribe's holdings. So, do we go straight to jail? Is that what it is? It goes straight to some sort of holding pen or drunk tank, or
That is an interesting. That's an interesting idea. I just don't know. They probably have some sort of a holding area, right? It may not be completely horrible, but they probably don't want us wandering around
Mhm.
town.
Probably.
So yeah, there's probably some. I guess jail, for lack of a better term, some sort of holding cell
Mhm.
type thing. Whether they have an organized,
Whether it's a
a
basically
small
a
hut with
wooden
a guard and
cage.
no windows, yeah, or a cage, yeah, a cage suspended over the main town square.
Yeah, or a cage that would normally put some sort of captured or trapped animal in. It's ours for the day, kind of thing. Any which way. So we're imprisoned in some way, as we're maybe guest would be a very strong word. We are definitely prisoners. Prisoners. We'll go with prisoners. At least incapacitated guests,
Yeah.
immobile guests, something like that.
Oh yeah, and
And
something like that.
do you think we have to wait a while before said
I
elders or
don't think that
chieftain?
I don't think that whatever's going on in this town that we're the first order of business.
Okay, so
where we're not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not causing problems. We're handled for now, for them to deal with as they would. Like, I don't think it's 6 months later, but I certainly don't think it's the first 6 hours after we get to town. It's probably a couple of days before the.
do you think we would do you think we could try a compel move to try to move up our date
You
with
can
our?
try. I barely survived my compel move.
Okay. Well, then I think it's bullshit that they put us in this cage and they're not allowing us to speak directly with whoever's in charge, because obviously, we've traveled many miles and come so far to get here. So,
That's true.
uh, I take it for a day, but after sleeping on a cold dirt floor without without the warmth of a fire or a blanket or anything, much more than like maybe a half moldy piece of bread, then I've had enough.
I think the Varoo probably fed us with meat.
Okay, fair enough.
It may have been a little less cooked than we preferred.
Either way, I mean,
Either way,
they gave us
I'm
they
not
gave
saying
us
it was
scraps.
raw, but yeah, yeah, no, I think they probably, until they know what's happening. I think we're, it's not like banquet fed, but I think we probably got something
Okay,
just
all
to
right.
keep us
So
quiet.
I'm gonna try to convince them, since I feel like I don't really want to lie or swindle, but maybe. Wow. So my strongest one would be uh lie or swindle. I'm just I'm just gonna go with the straight up
I don't know if that's a
convincing.
good. I don't know if the strongest one in this case is a good idea.
I don't think so. I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the convince. Convince them that like, because at this point, I'm screaming at them that our people are dying if we don't get this, complete
Yeah.
our quest, kind of thing. We don't have time to be sitting in a cage, and hopefully my emotional pleas reach somebody's ears. Because
Totally making the difference. Totally making the difference. Let's go.
I have 5 momentum, so
Okay.
that I could use in a pinch. So
In a
let's see what
pinch.
happens. I think I'm going to use
Actually,
it,
no,
but
the
I don't know.
momentum doesn't actually help you.
Let's see.
You have a weak hit now, and you'd have a weak hit with a 5. You have a 4.
I think so. Yeah.
Right? Am I reading that right? You got a
Let
4 against a 5 and a 2?
me see burning momentum real quick, just to make
Okay.
sure I didn't miss
Double check.
something.
Double check.
Momentum, burning momentum. So, burning momentum, build on success, deliver a decisive result, or avoid a dire failure. If both dice are less than your momentum value, you may cancel them both for a strong hit.
But
If
only
you
only
burn it,
one would be.
yeah. So basically, yeah, it acts like a challenge dice. Okay, so a weak hit. So I think at this point, so what happens when you compel and you suck at compelling? Good question. I think we just have a hard time with almost anything. So I would say that on the I'd say that this is okay. So to tie it back, so I succeed. I convince them that I'm not going to go away until we
Right.
get to see the chief and everything like that. But it says, but they ask for something in return. Now we're going to have to pick up that thread about the bone walkers because
Okay.
they're preoccupied with the changes in their land. Dark things are happening. Obviously, we've encountered the bone walkers, which they've heard that after you mentioned part of our journeys included bone walkers. So now the chieftain who's like, well, maybe we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can get these people out of our village. They could solve a problem for us or die trying, and we're none the worse off. And that
They
gives us a
they don't have a lot of downside. The
yeah.
worst thing that happens is we don't succeed where they haven't succeeded yet,
Mhm.
and we're out of their hair because we ran away or died.
Now, potential complication. If we wanted to add some politics and drama to this, is that instead of speaking with the person in charge, we could speak to a faction who is conspiring against said people in charge and are using this to gain leverage and are an alternate route. So there is a direct route and there's kind of an alternate route too.
It,
So
no, there could be. My first thought is how do we get the harpoon from the alternate route
well,
if they're not in direct control of it? But that's
well,
their problem. I don't know.
but I mean, this could be a way to usher in a change in leadership. Leadership is failing us. We were the ones who resolved this issue. And so they could force a change in leadership. I kind of envision the whole you know, Scar Mufasa kind of outcome. Like our leader is fearful. He doesn't know how to save our people. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But I'm just
It's
saying.
not fully fitting the way that I'm envisioning the Varou, but I might have a sort of naive look on the outside of you know what I mean? The
Well, it's whatever we want it to be, really. So,
strong, fierce, loyal,
mhm. Yeah, but you'd still
first
have
creatures.
people that
There's still
ambition
people that
and
just don't, have
yeah,
ambition, and
and sometimes that ambition
I'm
is
okay
born
with
from
either
the
one.
okay. So why
I'm
don't
okay with
we?
either one. So if you're enamored with the faction thing, and we don't
Because
actually
that
get to talk to the chieftain, we get to talk to somebody else.
like maybe an
Like, we don't
elder
know any
who's
better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we table that and for next week and we call it there because we're doing
Okay.
about hour-long episodes for this each time and I think that's
Okay.
fair to say that our cliffhanger this week is that we've compelled them to meet with someone who
We just
who will
don't.
help us on
Right.
our
We don't know who.
and they will ask us to do something in return, which right now seems like the most logical thing is address the
The
bone
bone walker, like
walker.
whoever is, because somebody raised them. They don't just naturally. It just doesn't naturally occur.
And and we can also tie in the thread with the pillar that we've got loose hanging out there too.
We
Um,
do.
yeah, so we got, we're keeping the plates in the right direction. So, all
Yeah.
right, well, that's another episode of Ironsworn. We've been playing this just as a fun way to kind of do some 2-player stuff. Obviously, if you're made it this far in the episode, we really appreciate it. We appreciate you listening. If you have any advice for us as to how we can play better, let us know. But also, if you have any advice as to other games we could play in addition to Ironsworn, in case when we forsake our vows at the end of this or succeed, there's a chance we could succeed. Succeed or die trying, I guess. Let
Exactly.
us know so we can try those games out as well. I've definitely got a lot of games on my pile that is growing as I keep on going to game stores and finding stuff that I want to play. Um, and
That
of course,
happens.
I've
It's a real
got
thing.
some Kickstarters that are coming soon, hopefully, and yeah. So we've got plenty of stuff to play. Just how much of it is co-op? I don't know. We just have to use the Mythic Game Emulator for a lot of stuff, I think. But
Yeah.
so let us know. Hit us in the comments. Hit us in the comments. That's probably the easiest.
It is in the comments. That's probably the best place right now. We are on social media as at Rollwise. We do have an email. It's rollwiseguys@gmail.com. We enjoy talking back and forth, discussing some, role playing related subjects. But we appreciate you guys watching and sticking with us for this long.
Mhm.
In honor of our friend Brent, roll well, roll wise, be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.